Hey, what's up guys? I hope you all are having a great day. Welcome to this brand new episode of our channel, and today we are going to develop a mobile application using Flutter. So in this episode we'll see how we can develop a counter application, a mobile application which will help us to make some counters within the application, and also we are going to see how we can increase and decrease the padding based on the counter number. So this is just about it, and once we get into the project you will get a good understanding of it, and it's gonna be a totally basic project. If you are just learning Flutter, this project will give you a little bit of good understanding on Flutter. That's it. So in case if you haven't set up the Flutter environment, so just visit the documentation and you will understand what it is asking for you. And once you are done, just open up your Android Studio and click on this file new. It will give you option of new Flutter project. Click here and select this Flutter application. We are going to call it counter app. You can call it whatever you want. Make sure you have this SDK path and project location and all that thing. I mean these are the basic things you need to start a Flutter project. So click next. Here we have a package name. We'll keep it like that and we'll click on finish. So yeah, here is our project. As you can see, this is the what can I say, basic project. Yeah, if you ask me. Now I'm gonna set my mobile phone here. As you can see, I'm using my physical device. You can use your virtual device if you want, but I'm gonna go with the physical device. But this is not main thing we need here, first of all. So what we are going to do, we're going to remove all of it because we don't need it, and I'll keep it quick, and I'll give you as much information as possible with this video. So let's just remove all of it. Well, not all of it, we'll remove this. Now this is my app. Here we're going to create two classes. First one will be the stateless, and we'll call it my app. And after that we are going to create another class that will be stateful. I hope you already know what is stateless and stateful, because these are the basic requirements you need if you want to build if you want to develop a Flutter project. So we'll call it, what can I say, counter app. That will be okay. So here we need a material app, and inside material app we'll give it a home, and here we'll call this counter app inside the stateless class. So now we'll design our total project here, but for that I'm going to returning a scaffold here. Let's call it scaffold, and it's gonna have body, app bar, all of it, but right now I'm just going to give it a body, and I'll add a text here, nothing much, and we'll give it a name. Let's call it what, hello there. That'll be okay. Come on, hello there. Great. So we have, as you can see, a main function here. After that we have a class. First one is stateless because we are not going to declare any variables here, and the second one is a stateful where we are going to declare all the logics and also, yeah. So okay, for that what I'm going to save this and I'm going to run it and see how is it going. So let's run the project and let's see what's happening. So as you can see, we have hello there here, but we can't see it properly. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just drag it to the center, and for that we'll add a widget here, wrap with the widget, and we'll call it center. Great. Let's save it and let's see how's it looking. So as you can see, we have our hello there here. Yeah, you have guessed it right, this is not our final design. We have just started the project. Now let me show you the design, and for that I'll keep the body for now, and we'll add a app bar, which is the first thing we need, and app bar. Great. Now there we need a title. Okay, let's give it a title. Let's call it counter app. Great. And we are going to keep it in center, so center title true. Great. So now if we see this, we have our app bar, but we need few more things. We are going to make the elevation 0 because we don't need any shadow here. Okay, let's save it. Great. We need to change the background color as well. Background color, and I'm going to go with colors dot deep purple accent. That will be okay. Let's see. Great. Okay, so yeah, we have it here. Now this is the app bar design. Now we need one more thing before we continue with our logic, I mean body design, that is floating action button. Let's create it. There we're gonna have a child, and we will give it icon, I think, yeah, icon, and that will be icons dot up arrow key something, yeah, arrow circle up outlined. Oh, let's go with it, and let me save it, though we need a style here, and for that I'm gonna have a background color. Here also we are gonna go with colors dot deep purple accent, because I want to keep same color for now. I mean, yeah, that's what I have planned for. Let's save it. And here we have our, you know, what can I say, the icon with floating action button, the floating action button with icon. Okay, you have set it, no issue. now we are going to work on the body. We'll come to the on press later in this floating button, because then we will be, you know, creating our logic for the application, but that's later. First let's just, you know, let's work on our body design. For that, first thing we need inside center, we need a, just a second, we need a child, of course, and it's gonna have a card. That card will have a child of padding, because we need padding, and there we need another child which will be text, and we will keep one for now here. Now if I save it, well, we'll have an error because we have to, you know, initialize the padding. I mean, we have to give it some value and all, otherwise we're gonna have some error. So for that I'm gonna say padding, come on, age insects all, and we're going to give it a value of 20 for now. Let's save it and let's see. Okay, so let me bring up my phone, and here we have one. We're gonna now work on this text design, and for that I'm gonna go with we have the text, we need style. This will be text style. There we are gonna have background color, I think. Well, no, we don't need any background color right now. We'll say this later, or just let's give it a try. How's it looking? Background, come on. Colors dot deep purple accent. Okay, no, great, yeah. Let me see. No, this is not what we need, so we are not gonna go with the background color. We need font size, that will be 20, that will be okay. Yeah, let me see. Okay, let me just make it a little bit small, and we don't need it right now. It will be easier for us to manage all the thing. Also, we are going to make the color white. Now you may ask why, but I don't have to ask. I'm going to show you why. This card will have a color. First I'm going to give it a elevation, and I'll keep it 20. Great. And after that I'm going to add a color, that will be colors dot deep purple accent. So let me save it and let me see how's it looking. So as you can see, it's looking much more better than before. Great. Okay, we have it here. Next, what we need. Okay, let me see what we need. So we are kind of ready with the design. I mean, we don't have much to do here, but I'm gonna change the background color of body, and that is scaffold. Let's see the background color. I'm gonna give the colors dot deep purple and 100. Let's see. Yeah, cool. Okay, great. That's looking okay type. Okay, great. So enough of the design. Let's talk about the logic, and let's see how we can, you know, work on the logic for the application. So for that, what I'm gonna do, we need few functions to be honest, but before that I'm gonna just create a variable, and that will be int counter, and let's go with 0, and here let's add it. Great, now we have the counter here. Let me save it. It should show us 0, and it is showing us 0. So now we are gonna create a function here that will be void, we'll say increase number, increase counter. Okay, it will be our function, and we are gonna set a state here where we are going to increase our counter, pretty obvious, +1. Great, now we are going to add this function here on press. We are going to call increase counter. Sorry, made it wrong here. What we have to do, we have to call the function first, then we are going to increase counter. Yeah, great. So yeah, we have it here. Let me save it, and let's see if we are having any error or if it is working or not. So now if we press here, okay, we are not having anything, pretty obvious. Now we need to see why we are not having anything here. Oh, come on, no, you haven't done this shit. Okay, my bad, sorry. Let me save it now, and yes, it's working fine. Sorry, that was my bad. We have to call it here, not inside this build function, because it gets called every time we refresh our page. So it was making counter 0 every time we are updating the state. So sorry, that's my bad. Great, so we actually, the logic is working right now. If you see, we can work, I mean, we have the counter here, but what we want to do, we want to increase this padding around the number as we increase the count. So for that, what we have to do, we have to use a ternary operator. So let's do that, and padding is actually here. So great, let's work on it. So what we are going to do, I'm going to type counter if it is greater than, what can I say, 5. Okay, then we are going to multiply the counter with 3. That, well, no, let's go 2.5. okay, and otherwise what we are going to do, we are going to keep it 20. So let me save it now. Okay, let me hot reload it here. It's gonna return to 0, and as you can see, it's increasing, but here, from here, as you can see, it's increasing as we increase the number after we get to the 5. So let me show you again, one more time. Now if I type 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it's getting little low. 7, it's getting higher. So yeah, that's okay. So let's make it 7. I think we don't want to see that downside of padding. I mean, we don't want to decrease it. So let's see if it is getting okay or not now. Here, now as you can see, it's working perfectly. So that's a good thing. What we want to do, we don't want to make any error, so that's why what we are going to do, we are going to check if the padding is getting to 50 or not. Once it's getting to 50, we don't want to increase it anymore. So we want to stop there. So for that, we are going to write our logic now, and here we are going to say we are going to give it if statement. We'll come to that statement. Let me paste it here, and we are going to say if the counter is lower than 50, then only we want to increase it. So let me save it. Let me increase the number. once we reach to 50, see, we are not gonna reach any higher. That's great, we have done enough. So once we reach to 50, what I want to do, I want to change this button, and I want to decrease the number to 1 again. So that's interesting, isn't that? So let's work on that. So for that we need another function which will be decrease count. Okay, let's call it count, not counter. Yeah, let's create a function decrease count, and here we are going to set state, and we are going to counter equals to counter -1, which is great. And what we want to do here, and we are going to add this ternary operator with this function. But before that, what we have to do, we need to know if we are increasing it or decreasing it. I mean, we don't know, right? Like, we are increasing the number or decreasing the number. So for that we have to see what was our previous number. If the previous number was 49, then, and right now it's 50, then that means we are increasing the number. And if the current number is 49 and previous number was 50, that means we are decreasing the number. That makes sense, isn't that? Okay, let me know in the comment section. Okay, so for that we need another variable, and we're going to call it pref count, which is previous count. You can count it as a short form of it. We are going to give it a -1. Here what we are going to do, set a state outside the if statement, and we are going to pref count, add pref count, and we are going to say pref count equals to counter. And okay, yeah, great. Now what it is doing, right now suppose this counter is 50. Once we are I'm sorry, suppose it's 10. Once we are increasing it, it's going to 11. The counter is going to 11, but the pref count will be 10. It's going to make you a little bit confused, but once we see it on practical, it will be easy to understand. So before we continue, let me also add a if statement here, where we are gonna say, okay, let me add it first, and we are gonna say if the counter is greater than 0, then only add this logic, which is this one. And we also need a set state here, and here we are also going to keep it same. Pref count equals to, which is previous count, again counter. So okay, I'm going to show you how it is happening, but before that we need to use this ternary operator here with this, where is it, the come on, yeah, this function. So we cannot only increase it. Once we reach to the 150, we are going to decrease the count as well. So for that, let me type previous count equals to counter. Once it's same, and not and, or previous count is equals to 0. Sorry, counter is equals to 0, then only we want to increase it. Other than that, we want to decrease the count, and that's great. Okay, so hopefully it will work, though we need more thing to change, but we'll come to that later. Let's see what it is saying. Let me hot reload it. Surely we're going to get some error, and as you can see, we already have the error. Now what is that? Let's see. So let's take a look here, what's happening here. Oh sorry, that's a problem in our logic. It will be counter is greater than previous counter. That means, if the counter is 2 and the previous counter is 1, then only increase it. That means, we are increasing it because the previous count, just like I told you, if the previous counter is 49 and the current counter is 50, that means we are increasing it. And just like that, we have counter, if it is 0 equals to, then also we want to increase it. But when it gets to 50, what we want to do, we want to decrease it, but first we want to increase it. So now it should work. Okay, let's see if it is working or not. We have hot reloaded it, and let's see. 2 3 4, great, it is working. Let's see, let's reach to 50. and we have reached, and as you can see we started to come down, but let's see if it is coming to 0 again. Don't worry, I'll explain it to you in just a second. Just give me a second, and as you can see it is again increasing. That's great that it's working, but what we want to do, once we reach to 50, we want to change this icon to down arrow. I mean, yeah, that's what it should do, right? So for that, what we are going to do, we're going to use ternary operator here again. So child icon, outline only, and we're going to add this, same logic here. This, then only do that. That means we are increasing it, and once we are done, what we want to do, we want to decrease it, and for that what we'll do, we'll change this up to down. Come on. And yeah, so let me save it, let me hot reload it. Okay, now let's increase it. And once we reach to 50, as you can see we have changed it to downside, and we will be going back now. Again, once we reach 0, it will be up arrow actually. Okay, that's great. So let me explain it. I mean, let me give you a little bit of recap what we have done, because it was first tutorial. I mean, I know you are a little bit of confused right now, though you already have my point here, but let me give you a little bit of gist about it and the essence about it, so that you get it, so that you can completely clear your confusion. So for that, as you can see, we have a main function here which is running the app, my app, and this is a stateless widget, which is the main thing. If you want to learn Flutter, just keep two things in mind. One is stateless and another one is stateful. So yeah, so here we are calling this counter app, which is a stateful widget, where we are actually declaring all our logics and all. So here, as you can see, we have two variables. One is counter, another one is previous counter. We'll come to that later. First, we have our design. This is an app bar. This is a body where we have centered it, and we have a card with text here, and these are all the designs, that's it. So next we have a floating button here. That's also great. So now let me tell you what's happening in this body. So inside this card we have a padding and a text, and this padding is around the text, and we are keeping this padding dynamic. As our counter increase, the padding will increase, and if our counter is decreasing, the padding will decreasing. So this is the logic we have here. As you can see, if the counter is greater than 7, then we are multiplying this counter with 2.5, and if it is if it is lower than 7, then we are just keeping it 20 as a padding. And this is all side padding, though we have lots of paddings in Flutter. Check out the documentation for that. We cannot we cannot discuss all of it in one video. That's not possible. So that's what's happening here, and these are all designs. These are pretty basic standard things you have to keep in your mind. So here we have a floating button which is helping us to increase and decrease the counter. So for that we have this onPress function, and here we are using a ternary operator. If the counter is greater than previous counter, or if the counter is equals to 0, we are increasing this count. Other than that, we are decreasing the count. Okay, so how is it happening? Let me give you a gist about it. So as you can see, we have a few things here. First, we have two variables which you have already aware of, and then we have a function which is increase count. It is quite self-explanatory. That means it is increasing the count, but we have a if clause here. Inside this if statement, we are saying that if the counter is lower than 50, then only increase our state, where that is counter, and increase by 1. That's it. And we also have another state outside the if clause. There we are assigning this counter inside this previous counter. Now let me tell you that the counter is starting from 0 and the previous counter is starting from -1. Once we are pressing this increase button, the counter is becoming, what can I say, 1, and the previous counter is becoming, just a second, 0. Now how is it happening? Because we are not increasing the previous counter, we are assigning this counter value inside previous counter. Oh, can we increase the previous counter as well? Well, you can give it a try. Honestly, you can give it a try. But what was my logic? That my logic was, I need the previous counter. Why? Because I want to see if the previous counter is lower than the actual counter. That means we are increasing the counter. I mean, if it is 0, it is 1. That means we are going upside, that is increasing. And if the counter is 0, and I mean, let's just say the random value 37, and the previous counter is, and the previous counter is 38, that means we are increasing, we are decreasing, because the counter is going downside. So that's, I mean, this is quite understandable. I mean, I think you already have that in your mind. So for that we have two function which is helping us to increase and decrease the count, pretty self-explanatory. And here we are also have a if clause, which is giving us a condition there. If the counter is lower, only greater than 0, that then only just set the state, and where we are decreasing the counter by 1. And here also again we are setting our previous count to the counter, like if it is 36, we are decreasing it 35 to 35, but previous count is 36, and we are getting the point like, yes, we are decreasing or increasing. This previous count is only for only to understand if we are decreasing or increasing the value. That's all this previous count is doing here. Yeah, we have all the logic here, but this variables are used here for the ternary operator. We are seeing if the counter is greater than previous count. That means if the counter is 50 and the previous counter is 49, that means we are actually increasing the counter, right? So let's just set a random value like it is 20, and this is previous count is 19. That means we are increasing. So what we will do, we'll call the increase function, which will help us to set the state and add 1 to the counter. Unless, I mean, if the counter is lower than previous counter, that means we are actually decreasing it. I mean, yeah, it's quite self-explanatory. I don't have to. I don't think I need to explain it that much. But yeah, but we have this OR with this counter equals to 0. That means once we are reaching to the counter equals to 0, there we have to increase it. We cannot decrease it anymore. But we have to tell this program that if it is 0, then also we want to increase it. So what we are doing there, we are doing an increment. So you can do it, change it, like change this and make it alternate this and make it 50 and add this decrease count here. It will work quite same. I mean, yeah, you get it. So yeah, that's all happening here. And if I hot reload it and show you the application, you can see we are increasing it, and once we are reaching up 7, we are increasing the padding around the text as well. So after reaching to 50, as you can see, we are going to come down. So here as you can see, we are coming down, and it will take us to 0, and once we reach to 0, it will again start going up. So that's quite great if you see. But that's all I wanted to show you. And one more thing, the code is completely free and it's available on my GitHub repository. I'll add that link in description, so feel free to check it out. And I hope you enjoyed it, because it was quite fun to make this application. I mean, if you check out the actual package of Flutter, it already gives you a counter app, but we don't have this much of logic there. This is just gonna increase the value, but we don't increase it, and at certain point we don't decrease it as well, and we don't increase or decrease the padding around the text. So I wanted to make it a little bit of advanced, so that's why I developed it and wanted to share with you guys. So I just did that. I hope you enjoyed it, and let me know in the comment section if you enjoyed it or not. And yeah, that's it. I don't know why I'm that much bad at ending the video, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day. I'll see you soon. Bye.